Well, tensions flare as authorities in South Sudan have accused the UPDF of expanding their deployment at the border regions between Uganda and South Sudan. This is also coming as the authorities and local leaders have also accused the UPDF of conducting illegal activities along their border with South Sudan. In this video, I'm going to tell you about that illegal activity that the UPDF is now being accused of condoning as well as perpetrating. As well as in this video, I'm going to tell you about that expansion that the UPDF has made despite there being talks between the CDF, that is Muhoozi Kainerugaba of the UPDF, as well as the president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir. Well, this is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on the Uganda-South Sudan crisis, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, there were armed clashes between the UPDF and the SSPDF on July 28, 2025. That happened, and following that, there were meetings between these two parties, between the UPDF and the South Sudanese Defense Forces, between Muhoozi Kainerugaba as well as the president of South Sudan, and they reassured people along the border that peace will be restored, that such an incident will not happen again, that both of these countries will work together to maintain peace and tranquility within the border. But it is now reported that the Uganda's Pro-Defense Forces, despite those reassurances, has now gone further to increase their deployment in South Sudan. According to the County Commissioner of Kajo-keji, Jackson Wani Mule, the UPDF has moved into additional area within Kajo-keji County, including Goloko, Alimara, Merewa, and Kolorunga, with tanks positioned along key entry points like Purai Mako Road near Kwenda Stream. This is the UPDF that has now moved in further into South Sudan, further into what is perceived as Kajo-keji County, despite there being talks by authorities in Uganda as well as South Sudan that there will be peace and security along the border. As well as the county commissioner also warned that this expansion violated diplomatic agreements and could provoke fresh clashes. He urged intervention from national authorities, IGAD, and the African Union that they should intervene in this crisis before it spills over to be something worse. It means that the UPDF has not abided by the agreements that were made between these two authorities when those clashes happened on July 28th, because this increase in deployment is now frustrating the South Sudanese Authority, and they are now asking IGAD, the African Union, to intervene in these cases before the worst happen along that region. And this is a huge contrast to what is exactly happening diplomatically, because diplomatically we are seeing that the Chief of Defense Forces of the South Sudanese Defense Forces went into Uganda just recently and met with the top leaders of the Uganda's Defense Forces. They had a talk, they had a cordial conversation about the region. As reports are saying, it came out that both of these leaders agreed that there will be peace between these countries along the border, and the meeting of these two leaders symbolized that the UPDF and the South Sudanese Defense Forces will work together so that an eventualities like what happened on July 28th will not be repeated. But that is not what is happening on the ground, because on the ground, according to the county commissioner of Kajo-keji, the opposite is actually happening. That the UPDF is continuing to get more into Kajo-keji, while this diplomacy has not cascaded down into the regions that are actually affected by what is going on along the border between South Sudan and Uganda. And now we are getting reports that some of the members of the Uganda's Defense Forces who are crossing into what is regarded as South Sudanese territory are engaging in illegal activities. The Ugandan forces have been accused of crossing into South Sudan to harvest cedar illegally. Officials have complained about the UPDF conducting illegal logging and extraction of building timber in South Sudan's Kajo-keji forest by Ugandan forces or civilians under their protection. Therefore, it is not only the UPDF, but sometimes there are civilians who move in and they are protected by the UPDF to conduct illegal logging in areas that are considered to be part of South Sudan. Of course, these allegations by the authorities in South Sudan have not been confirmed by the UPDF or any major organization in Uganda, but that is what authorities in the regions bordering Uganda from South Sudan are saying regarding the UPDF deployment and increase of that deployment in South Sudan. But it is important to note that this is not the first time that the UPDF has been accused of illegal logging in areas that are considered to be part of South Sudan territory. Just a while back, A detailed investigation by the Northern Uganda Media Club uncovered that UPDF soldiers are allegedly allowing charcoal and timber, including valuable hardwood like shea and Afzelia africana, to be transported through porous border areas, notably in Mount Kay's Central Forest Reserve. Local leaders of Yube district and traders point to the UPDF involvement in facilitating this trade. That is not the first time that the UPDF has been accused of the same thing that they have recently been accused by authorities in South Sudan, that some of them are in South Sudan territory to conduct illegal logging, as well as facilitating other people or civilians to conduct illegal logging in these forested regions of southern South Sudan. Well, I will continue to keep you informed of the latest of what will come out in these border regions between Uganda and South Sudan. Keep it bona fide.